Hey guys, you are watching your anime world. How are you all? Please support to subscribe this channel for watching new interesting stories. So in this video, we will see what if Deku and Denki were secret ability users in hiding. Here is short summary. Izuku Kanno, known as Izuku Midoriya, made the world think he was born on the outskirts of Yokohama and raised as an orphan among children in an orphanage. At the time, only one had caught his eye, Atsushi Nakajima. Unfortunately, as soon as they met, he'd been adopted by a woman he proudly called mother, Inko Midoriya. Denki Kaminari, grudgingly known as Denki Mori among mafiosos who'd met him before his escape, had known what it was to be raised at the center of Yokohama, smack dab in the middle of its largest criminal organization. 6 years after he was brought into the cruelty of the Port Mafia, he successfully ran away. Those stories were years ago. Now out of nowhere, there are 6 ability users grouped up in a house in Musutafu, while 3 others, themselves included, reveal themselves to be ability users too. There's no way it's all a coincidence. Now to hope Ua and the Hero Society don't find out, but if they do, good for them. But before we start, if you want more stuff like this, then be sure to subscribe and like this video. And if possible share this video with your friends. Now let's start the story. 4 a.m. All of the electronics in Denki Kaminari's room were turned on, but only one of them was actually being used. Golden yellow eyes remained steadily on the impossibly bright screen, a cable being held between teeth. Barriers placed on the outskirts of the Kamino ward. Denki automatically clicked on the report, already knowing exactly what would be said yet still trying to read it to get rid of his impending boredom. In a bout of frustration, he subconsciously threw his phone at the wall and buried his head in his pillow, keeping it lifted enough to hear the resounding crack of the device breaking. Everything went silent. Sighing in annoyance, he finally got up from his bed once he deemed it futile to lay down and opened his door at a speed that made sure it didn't creak. He didn't forget to take his phone along with him on the way. He wouldn't want to deal with his classmates this early in the morning. Denki passed his hand through his brown hair and yawned, proceeding towards the bathroom. It didn't take long to get there, but whether the time it took to walk there was really short or if his mind had wandered off slipped his mind. A memory of getting scolded by a ginger popped into his mind and he rubbed his eyes. I should sleep more. He pushed open the door without much thought after that one, naturally turning towards where his things were stored. The brunette was seriously thankful for his ingenious mind. Denki buried his face in his hands and cursed when he saw the condition of his hair dye bottle. It was empty. He peeked through his fingers and glanced at the white streak in his messy brown hair. Every time he looked at it, he could remember what happened that day. His brother tried drinking bleach again but some of it spilled on little Denki's hair. Hey! Snapping out of memory land, he stepped out of the bathroom, closing the door without paying attention to what was happening outside of the door. Kaminari-san, oops, he probably should have thought about getting his gun off of his person before going to sleep. When he woke up, the first thing Izuku decided to do was to get dressed and prepare his things to sneak out. He ran out of dye last time he used it. He had the weird feeling that a coincidence had occurred right there. He didn't do much, instead sneaking from window to window in order to get food on the way out. Izuku should have expected to see Kaminari there. Kaminari-san, and the fact that the human Pikachu would point a gun at him once he realized he was snuck upon. He raised his hands innocently and smiled nervously. Ah, please put that down. Midori-san, the brunette, and wasn't that a surprise, blinked until he abruptly put his arm down, rushing to hide his gun. Midori-san. Izuku dropped his arms, suppressing the urge to raise an eyebrow. Midori-san, that was a new one. Not an unpleasant novelty though, he quite liked the nickname. Kaminari looked everywhere but at him. Right, he should say something about the firearm. However, as knife wielder extraordinaire, he's not one to judge about deadly preferences. His classmates would totally freak out if they heard this. Minus Kaminari and Uraraka, somehow. Why don't we go buy hair dye at 4:36 am, aka, right now? Izuku smiled, completely dismissing the previous events. If the boy came out of the bathroom with very clearly brown hair then it must mean they were in a similar situation, right? Judging from the way Kaminari mirrored his reaction, he can safely deduce, he's an errant Yokohaman. Human Pikachu looked starstruck. Convenience store, marry me. He went on his knee and everything. The whole situation was so funny the cauliflower-haired teen had to stifle his laugh. Damn the weirded out passers-by for making him fail. The hero trainee didn't fail to notice the approaching footsteps. He recognized them both, though one personally whereas the other he didn't know closely. Somehow, he even recognized the voice, despite it being 3 years older than before. Izuku. This is why he needs hair dye. But of course, it's Atsushi, so he doesn't really care. Oh, and Kaminari is suddenly proposing to one of the cashiers. Wrong person. Izuku turned his head away from the comical sight with a wide smile. Those bangs are still atrocious. Was that orphanage's centuries-old hairstylist still not fired? Atsushi. His voice might have been too loud. Oh well. Okay, that cashier was nice and all, but 1, she wasn't the store that fought his heart, and 2, she wasn't short enough. Heck, if he had his brother's tastes, but honestly, short men, you know. Plus, one of them is outside, talking with a boy who needs a refund because what was that ugly Karen-worthy haircut? Wait, no, too off track. What track was he on again? Are you spacing out? As usual. Denki froze, turning to face the man with hair like his own wearing a tan trench coat. He didn't remember that piece of clothing, but he knew the face, and the bandages, of course. Well shit, what now? Because he kind of wants to hug the man. Aniki. He did not mean for his voice to crack like that. Let him have a random and utterly unnecessary mental conflict without background snickering, damn it. His brother is so stupid. Chapter text. Atsushi would be lying if he said that the newest collective case wasn't making him nervous. Sure, he'd fought against foreign terrorists and creatures to protect his city, consequently nearing death multiple times, but infiltrating the central point of the Japanese hero society. Completely out of his depths. The weirdest part was the amount of people in this case. He honestly didn't know why they had to go to a convenience store at 4 a.m. before even reaching their temporary home, but what could he say? Dazai was a mystery for everyone but a few. The thought that he would meet someone he knew here never crossed his mind, much less Izuku. Atsushi had no idea where his mentor was, and he had a feeling that he probably should care a little more. Denki glowered at the papers strewn across the desk, mentally cursing whoever had made him forget to turn in his schoolwork, even worse, finish it. It was on these days that he wished he could go back to the hellhole that was the Mafia. At least he didn't have to work. However, unlike his brother, he was not a masochist. If Midori-san's smile was anything to go by, the safest option was to become a child genius smarter than Yokohama's geniuses combined with the DOA's strategist all together and finish it all in record time. That didn't mean it wasn't a pain. These last few years fried my brain cells. Midori-san hummed in agreement and pointedly looked at the unfinished assignments haphazardly thrown around. The way he seemed to be brandishing his notebook was mildly concerning, to say the least. If Mr. Broccoli was anything like the only person he'd met that had that height, a threat would come. If you don't finish your work, I'm pouring bleach into your eyes. Now, Denki didn't think it would be that bad, but with what he's thinking about doing right now, he's so going to get beat up. What could he say? His brother was a horrible influence. You'd have to reach up to them first. Preferably by getting a growth spurt. He grinned, already prepared to feel the incoming pain. An image of a familiar executive popped up in his head as he felt a dark glare digging into his soul. I'm so dead. It wasn't that hard. Wasn't that hard, my ass. If you weren't breathing down my neck I would have ditched it again. Denki pouted, rubbing his neck as he instinctively etched words onto the wooden surface of the table. It was a habit he couldn't quite shake off. Oi, why are you two idiots downstairs at 6 in the morning? Both Midori-san's and his head snapped in the voice's direction, their voices taking on a cheerful tone. Good morning, Kachan. Bakugo's eye twitched and he walked over to the kitchen, muttering a quiet, what the hell, at their synchronization. It was 6 a.m. so their classmates would soon start to come down from their rooms to begin the day. The artificial blonde took note of that fact, already sure that Midori-san had already known before something caught up to him. How did he not notice this? He vaguely gestured at his bandages, giving the innocent-looking broccoli a withering yet somehow incredulous stare. The only reply he got was an unconcerned shrug. Now all you need to do is remove your hair dye and you'll look like your brother more. Denki's stare turned shocked, his body instinctively trying to jump up but only getting hurt against the tables in the process. Ow, damn, I did not tell you about that. That innocent expression's rank just skyrocketed in his list of things that piss him off. But it's kind of cute so it stays intact. Midoriya looked like he knew exactly what was going through his head at that moment. Broccoli Boy didn't respond, instead cleaning the mess they had made during their beat-up session. Typical Yokohama thing, don't worry. What is that? The younger teenager asked curiously, tracing his finger over the new engravings on the table. Shadows dance and weep, dark tempests within the soul. Echoes of the past. Closing square bracket. Denki's golden eyes flickered to where the other boy's fingers were tracing. He'd written that on instinct. The last time he had actually taken time to acknowledge the words had been years ago. The fact that he does now is kind of concerning. It gives him a bad feeling, something I came up with as a kid. It has the same name as. He probably shouldn't mention the fact that he has an ability, but Midori-san was a certified Yokohaman, my ability, Stormbringer. You came up with that as a child. Internally relieved to only have gotten a hum of understanding in response to what he revealed, he shrugged, I had a lot of inspiration. Then they lapsed into a comfortable silence, their previous unnoticeably tense atmosphere of clashing mental defenses dissipating just enough not to be overly wary. The lingering caution wasn't uncomfortable, so they didn't mind. Good morning, Todoroki-kun. The blonde spared the newcomer a glance until he felt his body react according to the image he'd painted of himself. He saw Midoriya do the same. Something was about to happen. It wasn't bad necessarily, at least not at the moment, but it felt like things were about to change. Settle down, problem children. Principal Nezu thought it would be a good idea to get a teaching assistant after what already happened this year. Aizawa turned to the door, looking even more tired than usual. Get in. A familiar silver-haired teenager stepped into the room, a bag slung over his shoulder and haircut still as bad as before. Atsushi Nakajima will be assisting this class for the rest of the semester until further notice. Well, this was interesting. And totally not incredibly risky. Denki was glad he wasn't sitting anywhere near Midori-san. He was sure the shorty would have strangled him if he was. At least he had a general idea why. The sentiment was shared after all. Midoriya's childhood friend, he was pretty sure his name was Atsushi, was now in their class, disregarding that wasn't going to be there all of the time. All of that spelled trouble. 3 ability users in one class, in the hero course of the most famous hero school. Scratch those worries, something was definitely up. Why couldn't he go 1 year without constant trouble? The day passed by in a blur, as always. He only remembered bits and pieces informative enough to know what had happened during the day. The exceptions were this morning, the start of class and lunch when Midori-san gave him an, albeit extremely dark, so dark their classmates should have noticed, intense look that screamed urgency. He guessed Broccoli wanted to meet up. How he figured that out he didn't know and honestly didn't care. Izuku was freaking out. He didn't mind Atsushi being at UA, no, that wasn't it. Or maybe it was actually, just not in a personal way. The problem was the abrupt increase of ability users within the school. Heck, the area considering the teaching assistants probably didn't come by themselves. He let out a long and exhausted sigh, getting a few weird looks from the heroes in training. The other problem, his mask was slipping. Since this morning, the psychological mask he'd built for himself had started cracking, revealing his real self. If it was put that way, it didn't worry him much, but if we thought about how it would affect both his ability and quirk, it was a giant problem. If he let down the mental barriers surrounding his ability, there was a high chance it would consume one for all before he could pass it down. He wasn't worried about losing his quirk per se, rather, he was worried about how others with actual brains would react. If, after saying it developed around 10 years later than it should, he suddenly lost his quirk for no apparent reason, it would be extremely suspicious to more observant people. Even those who knew about OFA would ask questions since that quirk wasn't something that just up and vanished. Now to find Atsushi. Was the world kidding him right now? 4. Izuku. Izuku gave a smile, trying to suppress his growing ire. The fourth ability user was Ryunosuke Kutagawa, Class 1C's teaching assistant, or more accurately, the Port Mafia's rabid dog. He wasn't one to judge his friend's tastes, but this just made the current situation even more suspicious. His train of thought did not make him miss the way the emo mafioso's eyes examined him with skepticism. Rude much. Did you need anything? He had to admit he much preferred that type of straightforwardness compared to anything else though. Yes, actually, Izuku motioned for the pair to follow him in the hallway to the 1A Alliance dorms. They were empty right now. Denki didn't get why they had to meet up in his room, but he already knew he didn't have a say in this. Which Ed, by the way. So in total there are 8 ability users in the area, 5 in this school, 2 living nearby, and 1 supposedly collaborating with the League. He groaned and flopped onto his bed. This was just getting more complicated by the minute, and it's only been a day so far. But when he thought about that statement for a little moment more, he found a part of it weird. 5. Midori-san nodded. Yeah, 5. He didn't elaborate, nor did he look like he would soon. Now Denki is getting flashbacks to his brother. Broccoli better not turn out like him. What is this impending shitshow? He grumbled under his breath, tuning everything else out. Chapter text. Osamu created Yokohama fam. Osamu changed their name to Dadzai. Dadzai added 8 new users. Dadzai changed 3 names. Dadzai. O****. Izuku. Dadzai changed Izuku's name to Cauliflower. Cauliflower. Fair. Chumam. What the hell shitty Dazai? Pikachu. Chibi ni, I thought you learned not to question it. Chumam. What the? Chumam. Is that who I think it is? Pikachu. No comment, laughing face. Jin. Help. Pikachu. Pikachu sent a picture. Pikachu. My room isn't that bad, right? Cauliflower. It looks awful. Atsushi. It's weird. Ryunosuke. It looks like you don't know what fashion means. Pikachu. Ouch. Sunshine. It's not that bad. Ryunosuke. It looks worse in person. Dadzai changed 3 names. Katsushi. Why is Jin-san stuck in a tree? Pikachu. WTF. Chumam. I'm not dealing with this shit right before meeting the love. Pikachu. Where did it I'm stylish go? Katsushi. Kenji, is it just me or are you on UA grounds? Sunshine. Yep. Katsushi. Kenji no. Pikachu. WTF Aniki. Dadazai. Backquote. Katsushi. Pikachu. Cauliflower. This is entertaining. Pikachu. That's because you're eating popcorn. Cauliflower. MWAHAHAHAHAH. Katsushi. No please, one is enough, loudly crying. I'm stylish. What is that sound? Cauliflower. Interesting. Pikachu. Is that a cow? Katsushi. Help, I'm dying. I'm stylish. What's new? Pikachu. Katsushi. Pikachu. I'm sorry, is that a bull? Help. I can hear you all the way from the 1B dorms. Pikachu. Wait, what? Katsushi. Mom, pick me up, I'm scared. Chumam. I'm busy. Cauliflower. Haha. Dadzai. Now no, Chuya finally admitted he's a mom. Chumam. Shut up. I'm stylish. I want to go back home. Help. It entered the 1B dorms. Help. I might kill it. Sunshine. Don't. Help. NVM. Cauliflower. Sunshine and rainbows. Pikachu. I think Atsushi actually died. I'm stylish. At least he didn't lose a leg this time. Pikachu. Should I ask? Cauliflower. Nope. Dadzai. Cauliflower. I think there's an army downstairs. I'm stylish. An army. Pikachu. Of ing chickens. I'm stylish. I guess we're eating chicken tonight. Cauliflower. Is that you downstairs at Sunshine? Sunshine. Yeah. Help. I thought I was going to die. Pikachu. Cauliflower sent a picture. Cauliflower. Atsushi is sleeping like a cat. I'm stylish. Cute. I'm stylish. I'm stylish deleted a reply. Pikachu. OMG. Cauliflower. Caught in 4K. Dad's eye. I took a screenshot. Cauliflower sent a picture. Cauliflower. At I'm Stylish has revealed his real nature as a tomato. Help. Dayum. Pikachu. I thought he was Chalk HGFDC. Pikachu. Atsushi WTF. Cauliflower. My poor ears. Cauliflower. How do you manage that sound? Cat Sushi. Sorry, Pikachu. Bro never answered the question. Sunshine. Your teacher is so cool. I'm Stylish. Pikachu. Cat Sushi. Cauliflower. You met Aizawa Sensei. Sunshine. Yeah, help. I met my lookalike. Help. She's cool. Pikachu. WTF how? Also who? Cauliflower. Yaomomo. Pikachu. How TF? Pikachu. A chunk of wall is missing. Chumom. At Sunshine, when was the last time you ate? Sunshine. Yesterday. Chumom. Sunshine. I'm going home now. Cat Sushi. I heard a chicken die. Cauliflower. We're eating chicken tonight. Pikachu. Oof. I'm Stylish. I met a purple Aizawa in the hallway. Help. He looks like an orphan. Fukuzawa added Fukuzawa. Fukuzawa. Adopt him. Fukuzawa left the chat. Pikachu. WTF. Sunshine. New sibling. Help. Cat Sushi. I'm Stylish. Cauliflower. Dad's eye. Yes. Pikachu. WTAF. Sunshine. Yay. Cat Sushi. How is it dinner already? Chumom. I leave for 1 minute. Chumom muted the chat for 4 hours. Chapter text. Denki snickered from a corner of the common room as Bakugo yelled random orders from the top of his lungs. He had to be honest, the aftermath of Kenji's short break-in was super funny to witness, and as Mido, Izuku had predicted, they were eating chicken tonight. Okay, but that wasn't surprising. Denki. He turned around and grinned. Hey, Mina. Tension. Atsushi glanced at Akutagawa awkwardly while the other continued staring at him, paying no attention to their classmates running around. Yup, just tension. Why was he here again? Chuya ran his fingers through his hair in frustration. He'd met those love bastards once and he already hated them, more specifically, their leader. His steps halted and he sighed in resignation. What do you want? A man with an excessive amount of burns stepped out of the shadows, teal blue eyes taking in the ginger's appearance. It would be boring to tell you, you know. Chuya rolled his eyes and went to walk away, but instead of walking away peacefully, he could hear the man following him. There was one reason he hadn't confronted the guy up front yet, his shitty excuse for a partner. What the hell are you planning, you mackerel? Then, from seemingly nowhere, Kenji appeared, running to catch up with the executive. To be honest, Izuku had no idea why this random blondie, no offense to her, was walking beside him. Actually, he didn't really know why he snuck out in the first place, which was unusual. It didn't matter much in the end since he probably had to meet this very peculiar blondie at some point. Coincidences after coincidences. So, what's your name? Just be casual. She smiled widely, displaying sharp teeth. Or fangs, who knows, Hamiko Toga. Okay, enthusiastic. He could work with that. Izuku actually turned his head so she wasn't just in his peripheral vision anymore, attention grasped. I'm Izuku Midoriya, just call me Izuku. Do you have a quirk? Toga nodded, seemingly excited about sharing. Her excitement seemed to him more as if she was evaluating him, though Izuku couldn't really place why. My quirk, transform, makes me able to transform into a lookalike of another person, but only if I drink their blood. Huh, that was much more interesting than he'd anticipated. Knowing the hero society, this quirk would be classified as villainous, but to him, it was like gold in a landfield. Cool, I have a few questions if you don't mind. Yokohama fam. Cauliflower. I somehow collected an orphan. Chumom. I also found one. Chumom. He looked like shit. Sunshine. I told him to feel at home. Chumom. After dragging him all the way to the house. Cauliflower. Somehow I'm not surprised. Help. Help. Cauliflower. What's wrong? Oop lol. Pikachu. Lol. Cat Sushi. You both sound like you're making fun of her. Pikachu. Damn MB. Help. That Monoma guy has some screws loose. Help. I think he's an orphan too. Cauliflower. He's not. Cauliflower. Dead mommy issues. Pikachu. A semi-orphan then. Help. EGEFSEBTRG stop what? Sunshine. We need therapy. Cauliflower. At. Pikachu you good. Help. Y'all we have to now. Help. The great Miyazawa has spoken. Cauliflower. Not only did Denki fall down some stairs. Chumam. He did what now? Cauliflower. But, Cauliflower sent a picture. Cauliflower. Have they been staring at each other like that the whole time? Pikachu. Oh yeah, Cauliflower. Lol or alive. Help. BTRDEFTYEDBD. Pikachu. I think I broke the stairs. Dad's eye. I can sense the tension through the screen T_da. Chumam. Dazai where the have you been? Dad's eye. I got kidnapped. Chumam. Huh, Cauliflower. WDYM you think you broke the stairs. Dad's eye. And I kidnapped a child when I escaped. Chumam. What? Help. LMAO this is hilarious. Pikachu. Well. Dad's eye. In my defense the child didn't look too well. Dad's eye sent a picture. Cauliflower. She's so cute. Cauliflower. And covered in bandages. Chumam. Who do I kill? Dad's eye. No need. Hollow down pointing triangle. Pikachu. Pikachu. Wait how the did you all manage to find 4 orphans in around an hour? Dad's eye. Cauliflower. Bro is slow father FR. Dad's eye added 5 new users to Yokohama fam. Pikachu. Well shit. Pikachu. Hold up wasn't it 4? Hamiko. He. Keigo. Hitoshi left the chat. Dad's eye added Hitoshi to the chat. Hitoshi. Why? Chuya. Where did at? Sunshine find this phone? Keigo. Atuya huh. Cauliflower. Is that DRAMAI smell? Hamiko. Help. Dad's eye. Chuya. At. Keigo hey Keigo. Keigo. How are you not dead? Chuya. Funny story actually. Chumam muted Chuya and Keigo for an hour. Hamiko. No my sweet drama. Help. Sobs. Nito. Can I leave? Hitoshi. Sunshine. Nope. Dad's eye. You're stuck with us now. Nito. I'd ask my mom for help but she died. Sunshine. You'll get a new mom. Sunshine. At. Chumam. Cauliflower. Can I have admin? Pikachu. PLS no. Cauliflower. At. Dad's eye can I have admin RQ? Dad's eye made Cauliflower administrator. Cauliflower. Thank you. Dad's eye. Cauliflower changed 3 names. Cauliflower. Filled circle lower half circle filled circle. Help. He became emo. Help sent a picture. Pikachu. More like he's sulking. Cat sushi. Hey guys. Pikachu. Where have you been? I'm stylish. Somewhere. Dad's eye. In the closet degree. Cauliflower. Not. Katsushi. You Sunshine. Wouldn't they suffocate? Chumam. At. Sunshine. Don't worry about it. Chumam. Osamu Dazai. Dad's eye. Winking face. Pikachu. Aniki is dead. Pikachu. And to be precise, painfully. Cauliflower. Gaspakama. Sunshine sent a picture. Sunshine. Eri-chan says hi. Cauliflower. Dies from cuteness overload. Cat sushi. Help. Sadly momless. Kawaii vampire. Kawaii vampire. They're both so cute. Pikachu. Iker. Cauliflower. Tell her we say hi. Sunshine. Okay. Sunshine. Mom dragged dad to the bedroom. Cat sushi. I'm stylish. Cauliflower. Help. Pikachu. All of you get out of the house. Sunshine. Okay. Kawaii vampire. Ooh, sadly momless. Should I be worried? Sadly momless. Nah, Pikachu. I sense people coming for me. Pikachu. Bye. Help. At. Sunshine. Sunshine. Yeah. Help. Why are you on UA grounds? Help. YKWNVM. Cat sushi. I smell heaven. I'm stylish. Jinko went feral. Cauliflower. I smell chicken. Keigo. Chicken. Chuya. I'm so confused RN. Cauliflower changed 2 names. Akiko. How did I just notice this? Sunshine. Yosano-san. Akiko. Hey Kenji. Cauliflower changed Akiko's name to Badass Doc. Badass Doc. Cool. Burning underscore the chicken nugget. UA looks arsonable. Pikachu. Arson. Burning underscore the chicken nugget. Arson. Pikachu. Arson. Chumom. No arson. Chumom muted the chat for 10 hours. Izuku sighed. He's not getting out of this week in one piece, that for sure. Chapter text. Izuku woke up to 2 yellow eyes peering into his soul. He yelped and backed up in his bed because can people please stop stalking him when he's sleeping? What the foo? Hamiko grinned. Good morning. She skipped around in his dorm, twirling as she forced his eyes to notice the blatant change in his room. Hamiko. Why how did you get in here? The blonde threw herself onto his chair and giggled. Brownie-san showed me around. Izuku stared at her blankly. He looked at his redesigned room and then back at the human vampire. Brownie-san. He blinked and got to his feet, picking up his notebooks from the ground, eyeing his newly gray walls with added bookshelves. He put his notebooks and figures in the drawers and promptly decided that he didn't mind the change all that much. You mean Dazai-san? Hamiko blinked. Yup. Okay then. Now please get out. Go bother Denki or whatever. He showed her to the window where there was a manually added balcony. He stared at it momentarily before pushing Hamiko out and closing the blinds. He hadn't been able to walk outside at night for a while. Unfortunately, he wasn't alone. Mr. Dazai, where are you going? A little child asked quietly from behind him. He sighed and continued ignoring her, not knowing how to deal with her. After a while of walking in silence, Dazai turned around and picked Eri up, completely avoiding her gaze. He practically felt her brighten up. She's like a carbon copy of. He breathed in deeply, suddenly feeling really tired. They walked to a small convenience store and Dazai picked up a bag of cookies, ignoring Eri's curious look, deciding to buy the cookies with the money he'd taken from Shuya before giving the bag to the little girl he was carrying. Eri attempted to give him a big smile. Thank you, Mr. Dazai. His eyes flickered in her direction and he hummed, patting the girl on the head when she started to look dejected. She's not too bad. Not that he didn't already know that, of course. Oh my god, get out. He ran around frantically, avoiding the rogue vampire in his room. I get it, I'm late. He rushed around, running away from Hamiko as she continued crawling after him like a spider. Dazai. Dazai peeked into the room Eri and Kenji shared with a wide smile. What is it, Chibi? Chuya glared at him, getting up from his spot across from Eri who was busy writing, before dragging him out into the hallway. He took a fistful of the taller brunette's shirt angrily. Where have you been? Was Chuya worried about me? Chuya let go of him and narrowed his eyes, immediately noticing the fact that his partner avoided the question. He was probably better off not knowing until necessary anyway. You better not get yourself killed, mackerel. He slammed the door in Dazai's face. Don't worry about that, slug. Yokohama fam. Kawaii vampire. Mission accomplished Brownie-san. Dadzai. Good job Vampy-chan. Burning underscore the chicken nugget. Did you burn down Ua? Dadzai. That would take the fun out of it. Kenji. Hanako too likes the grass there a lot. Burning underscore the chicken nugget. Burning underscore the chicken nugget. What did you do? Kawaii vampire. We sued Ua. Chumom. Congrats, Chumom. Even though that probably did nothing. Burning underscore the chicken nugget. OMG y'all really did. Baddest doc. Anybody need healing yet? Dadzai. Perfect timing Yosano sensei. At burning underscore the chicken nugget needs your medical attention. Burning underscore the chicken nugget. No I don't. Chumom. Eri-chan literally said you look like a burnt stove. Chumom. I don't even know how she knows those words. Burning underscore the chicken nugget. Dadzai. Emotional damage. Badass doc. I got president to get me a ride. Badass doc. I'm coming. Burning underscore the chicken nugget. I'm scared. Chapter text. Yokohama fam. Pikachu. BWAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHAHCaliflower. PFF. Sunshine. Pikachu. BCTHXECRVGHBGNGRCDV Bank DTVBN. Slash dot. Semicolon. Cauliflower. He meant that it's because Atsushi and Akutagawa were called out by Aizawa-sensei. Sunshine. Did they get in trouble? Oh. Chumam. Who made my child sad? Pikachu. Ah. Cauliflower. No. They're fine DW. Cauliflower. Their teaching assists so. Pikachu. Damn the privileges. Pikachu. Privileges. Pikachu. Privileges. Pikachu. Privileges. Cauliflower. Imagine. Chumam. At Pikachu I'm watching you. Pikachu _ winking face. Sunshine. Okay. Dad's eye. Let me guess. Dad's eye. Their flirting got called out not. Pikachu. Exactly. Chumam. At Dad's eye where is Eri? Where are you? Dad's eye sent a picture. Dad's eye. The child didn't know what a park was Uya. Dad's eye. I had to take her to one. Kawaii vampire. I have been fed. 3. Chumam. So you can actually be a decent human being. I'm stylish. Aye. Dazai looked up from his phone and picked Eri up so he could walk faster when he saw an inconspicuous car park at the home Chuya had gotten for their makeshift family. He immediately recognized it as one of the Sport Mafia's undercover cars. As expected of Chibi, he smirked, approaching the car calmly. Eri looked up at him with her wide red eyes, then back at the car where a woman with short, dark hair walked out, instinctively burying her face in his chest. Dazai patted her head and he smiled wide. Ah, Yosano-sensei. Badass doc. I'm Hiri. Burning _ the chicken nugget. Oh no. Dad's eye. I unfortunately cannot stay. Dad's eye. I still have to get some new clothes for Eri. Musical note. The chicken nugget. You don't sound remorseful at all. Burning _ the chicken nugget. I'm going to die. Burning _ the chicken nugget. Again. Dad's eye. Give me your dying rights. Chumam. No, there's a child with you. Dad's eye. Chibiko cares about me. Chumam. I don't, I care about Eri. The chicken nugget. Kawaii vampire. I feel like there's a story behind all that. Circle all but upper left quadrant filled. Omega circle all but upper left quadrant filled. Cauliflower. And we'll find out what it is. Chumam. Weren't you supposed to be interning? Cauliflower. I'm hiding RD6FBUQVTRQBETF7VBAF. Sunshine. He was found. Chumam. I swear when I see you next time you mackerel. The chicken nugget. Why am I here again? Kawaii vampire. I will eat you otherwise. Smiley face. The chicken nugget. PL's don't rushed face. Kawaii vampire. The chicken nugget. Help. The chicken nugget. Help, she's at my window. What took you two so long? Himiko giggled and Tuya shivered, both from the traumatic event he experienced called Yosano Akiko's healing process and the air touching his newly unburnt skin. Chuya didn't even try to figure out what was happening and turned around, subconsciously adjusting his hat. Naturally, he didn't miss the girl with short brown hair watching from afar, a phone at her ear. Dazai sighed, making sure not to let go of Eri's hand as he gave Chisaki a dark side eye, a terrifying grin adorning his face. Ah, I was wondering when you would finally come. Ozaki sisters DMs. Cha. Nissan. Sylph. Ah, any updates? Cha. He got 2 people to join him. Sylph. Then he's fine. Didn't you want to meet him? Cha. I was going to do that anyway. Sylph. Don't forget the mission. Cha. Of course. UA added 2 users to the chat. Ashido. Tush were added. Akutagawa. HN. Kaminari. Akutagawa is an Uchiha confirmed. Akutagawa. Shut up. Hanta. Normally it would, but they are so cool. Nakajima. Thank you. Iida. Welcome to the official UA group chat. Kaminari. Why do I imagine him making robot moves? RN. Ashido. Fr. Kirishima. Welcome Nakajima, Akutagawa. Uraraka. Why was Akutagawa-san also added, isn't he in 1C? Kaminari. Tsu. Nakajima. It's just Atsushi. Todoroki. Welcome. Nakajima. Thank you. Yaoyorozu. All of you please go back to your assignments. Bakugo. Why the did glasses not say anything about this? Juro. That's kind of weird. The Tsukokus. Katsushi sent a screenshot. Katsushi. Is this what Dazai-san mentioned? Pikachu. Probs I don't understand Aniki any more than you. Chumam. At Katsushi at Pikachu at I'm stylish he wrote. Don't intervene. Pikachu. Talking about him. Chumam. Don't say anything about it. Katsushi. I'm stylish. Katsushi. I understand. Katsushi. Wait, but how did Akutagawa join that chat? Pikachu. I plead guilty. I'm stylish. Where is Midoriya? UA Class 1A official group chat. Midoriya sent their location to the chat. Nakajima. Kaminari. Damn, Kaminari. That's Seuss. Todoroki. I'll be back. Nakajima. I don't think that's a good idea. Kirishima. Let's hope they'll be fine. Nakajima. Maybe. Ashido. Come on, stop with the depressing atmosphere. Yaoyorozu muted the chat. Yokohama fam. Katsushi. Any news? The chicken nugget. Apparently there's an attack in Hosu. Katsushi. Pikachu. That's where Iida was right. Katsushi. And he wants revenge against Stain. Pikachu. Izuku was there. Katsushi. Todoroki went too. Kawaii vampire. What happened to Izuku? Kawaii vampire. Also I heard Stain. Sunshine. Is Mr. Chuya okay? Help. I really don't think he is. Help. He's destroying the house. Badass doc. Can someone tell me why Eri I think came running over to me? Chumam. Damn it, sleepy cat. Nope, I'm going back offline. Sadly momless. Real. The chicken nugget. What the hell? Sunshine. Mr. Chuya is really mad. Help. This is a disaster. I'm stylish. Says you. Help. Gasp. Chuya was livid. Contrary to popular belief, he was a pretty chill guy. The anger issues were only really brought out by Dazai. Right now was no different. Nakahara. He whirled around, ready to yell at Dabi, Chuya's face for no good reason until he saw the little girl behind him watching his every move with her wide red eyes. Eri. Forcing his anger down, he crouched down and opened his arms, sending Eri a reassuring smile, then let her hug him all she wanted. Chuya finally looked up at the teal-eyed young man in front of him, still keeping all of his emotional attention on the child in his arms to make sure he didn't explode. Literally, was she really with Yosano? If you mean the doctor, yeah. Apparently, she came running. So no sign of the bandaged maniac, huh? Damn him for doing everything without telling him. He definitely knew what would happen in Hosu beforehand, but what he's doing probably has nothing to do with it. Stupid mackerel, never telling him anything. Eri mumbled something into his chest that froze his blood cold. Can you repeat that? It came out harsher than intended and he winced when she flinched. Deliberate long-term incident. Dazai-san said to tell you that. Her words were kind of jumbled due to her young age, but he understood the message perfectly. I'm going to act like the victim for a long time. Don't look for me no matter what. Don't intervene. Cha. Nei-san. Cha. 3 of my classmates got caught up in the Stain attack. Sylph. I imagine it all went well to some degree. Cha. Somewhat. The commission tried to cover up their involvement in Mr. Hero Killer's defeat. Sylph. I'll pass this on to the boss. Sylph. According to Chuya, the League will use the Stain attack as cover and recruit more members. Cha. What do I do? Sylph. Boss says to continue your own mission, though you have permission to tell the other Yokohama residents in the area about your cover-up mission. Cha. Got it, Cha. Time to break into your mentee's house. Sylph. Good luck. So far, Himiko was still pretty confused by the whole situation, but she just rolled with it. Hey, the people she randomly started living with were cool, so she wasn't complaining. It's also none of her business how Gingerbread-san made her blood chocolates, they were good anyway. Sitting in the mostly intact living room, Himiko popped a chocolate into her mouth and threw the box's cover at the head of the young man sitting on the opposite couch, deciding to braid Eri's hair. Oi, what was that for? She just chewed her chocolate while staring at Chuya silently right as a frustrated yell sounded throughout the house and a door was smashed. Himiko finished braiding Eri's hair and picked up the plate, offering the little girl chocolate to lift her spirits. Have some, Peppermint-chan. Eri observed the foreign goodness curiously before tentatively biting into it, slightly worried about what it was. Let's not forget the goodness part, her eyes sparkled. So, did you? Himiko's question was interrupted by a knock on the front door. Chuya and she had a staring contest. The one who would fall first would get the door. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got it. Thank God Kenji exists because neither of them can get mad at him for destroying the competition. Kenji came back with a girl with short brown hair adorned with ornaments and went towards the angry yells after showing her where to sit. At least the girl didn't seem to mind the commotion. Quote. So, is it normal to have random strangers enter our houses? Chuya seriously can't shut his goofy a. Sorry, I was just looking for Nakahara-san, the girl smiled, settling down on the seat Kenji had shown her. What about me? The man himself walked into the living room, Jin trailing behind him. He somehow looked fine. The girl blinked, looking Gingerbread-san up and down. Neeson wasn't kidding, you do look that good. Jin walked past the thrown-off people to go to the kitchen, briefly stopping near the brunette. Aren't you Ochako Uraraka from 1A? Himiko sneakily got her phone and settled on the couch comfortably. The girl, Ochako, nodded. I go by that during my mission but my name is actually Ochako Ozaki. Yokohama fam. Help. 1A is full of ability users. Pikachu. Oh no, what now? I'm stylish. There's another one. Help. Apparently the gravity girl is Ozaki-san's sister. Pikachu. What da? Pikachu. She's collecting gravity users like Pokemon. I'm stylish. Says the one with a Pokemon username. Pikachu. Sadly momless. WTF did I come online to? Sadly momless. And at help where are you? Help. Watching the drama. Kawaii vampire. Where did Brownie-san goo his child as sad Sadly momless. I'm out of the loop. Sadly momless. Who's Brownie-san? I'm stylish. That's what she calls it Dadzai-san. Sleepy cat. Hold on. Sleepy cat. He's missing. Sleepy cat. Wait no, that's fine. Sleepy cat. Eri is sad. Help. I'm so lucky I found popcorn in the kitchen. Kawaii vampire. I gave her chocolate. Katsushi. Isn't the Tezue 6RDTYGSD? Help. She did not pounce on him like that. Pikachu. I'ma add Uraraka RLQ. Pikachu added Ochako to the chat. Ochako. Why are there so many of you? Katsushi. Some of us aren't even from Yokohama actually. I'm stylish. At the chicken nugget at burning_the chicken nugget at sadly momless at sleepy cat at kawaii vampire. Ochako. Okay, help. She didn't even ask. Cauliflower changed Ochako's name to Kirby. Kirby. Katsushi. Izuku. Kawaii vampire. Izuku. Cauliflower. Atsushi. Cauliflower. Himiku. Pikachu. Weren't you in the hospital? Cauliflower. I still am. Kirby. What? Cauliflower. I backread. Cauliflower. So at Pikachu suffer with me. Kirby. Huh, Pikachu. Shit, Chumom muted 3 users for 30 minutes. Kawaii vampire. No, Chumom. That's your problem. Edogawa Ranpo and Yosano Akiko DMs. Detective Conan. Hey Akiko, bring your patient with you when you come back. Feminist_icon. Sure. Why? Detective Conan. I have an idea and the president already approved. Feminist_icon. Alright. Yokohama fam. Badass doc. I'll be stealing your ex-burnt stove when I go smiley face. Burn_the chicken nugget. Know what why? Sleepy cat. How did he know it was him? Chumam. Why, sunshine. Okay, why though? Badass doc. Ranpo said to bring him to Yokohama. Katsushi. OALR. Chumam. Chumam. Fine. Burn _ the chicken nugget. If I die tell Keigo I love him. Kawaii vampire. WHATTTT. Help. Bro. Katsushi. What the? Cauliflower unmuted cauliflower. Cauliflower. TEAAAAAAA. Sadly momless. And then he went offline. Kawaii vampire. Bish better come back and explain. Help. At the chicken nugget get online. Help. Hero work ain't worth this revelation. Chumam. I would mute but it's too entertaining. Chumam. I'm not even going to ask. The chicken nugget. Why did I get so many notifs and a baby vampire at my window? Kawaii vampire. Bish I'm not a baby. Help. Whatever. Cauliflower. He's online. Help. He's online. Pikachu. No one's watching. Pikachu added Shoto to the chat. Chumam. I saw that. Pikachu. Shit, Shoto. Thankfully, when Shoto squinted, he could see the acronym, TA, through the mess. He concluded he had to find them. A dozen golden knives whizzed by in the air. It was crazy how things had changed in less than 2 days. 2 days. That was all that was necessary for her actual mission to be revealed. Denki felt stupid more than he had in the past few years. Mori never did things without a reason. Denki dodged the whizzing projectiles, mentally cursing at himself. His mental reprogramming was taking too long even though he, without a doubt, needed his ability back, not his disadvantageous quirk-like remake. He cursed again. He had to stay focused. He'd trained for this. The only good thing about this was that she couldn't increase gravity in any way, otherwise he would have been dead. He stared at the gun in his hand. Dazai hadn't been honest with Chuya. He looked at bodies littering the ground. That was the closest already existing code they shared he could give. Then back again. But he still hadn't been honest with Chuya. Dazai shook his head, pushing the dark whirlwind threatening to take over him. He had something to do. Pasting a smirk on his face, he waited for the approaching footsteps to finally find him. And as he predicted, the number 2 hero was sent to get him as well. Hawks. Takami Keigo. Up to this day, the commission didn't waste any time. Nakahara-san. Chuya rubbed his temples to calm himself down and turned to the door, where a very exhausted Atsushi stood panting heavily all the while. What do you want? The weretiger put a folder on Chuya's desk and bowed in apology with a wry smile. Sorry for barging in, it's just that Izuku told me to give you this. It's from Dazai-san. He examined the folder. It was somewhat large but its contents clearly weren't papers. Its shape was deformed like it contained a book, a chibi face of the sender himself giving a thumbs up and a wink and 2 names signed on the back. A book. Chuya narrowed his eyes and picked up the folder, examining each side of it. He briefly glanced at the other one in the room. Get out. Right, all, and get Denki. The halls were the same as he remembered. On the other hand, they resembled the Shihasaikai headquarters quite a lot. From the eerily blank halls to the completely professional people walking about, the place had nailed its experimental atmosphere perfectly. Dazai didn't care about all of that. In front of him was the door leading to the Special Abilities Department. You mustn't show emotion, Shuji. Suddenly, he was plunged into darkness. Don't resist. His eyes adjusted and he finally saw where they were now. Follow their movements. 3 double doors were displayed, the signs above them being used to identify where they led. Dazai was brought to the central one where a dark-haired woman was waiting with a cheery smile. He felt a wave of repulsion when he saw that face. You mustn't. Denki looked over his shoulder for the nth time as he managed to get away from the gravity nullifier. He swore there was someone near him. Denki-san. Almost on instinct, he turned around and backed up, pointing the gun he'd gotten as he was escaping the younger Ozaki's attacks at the intruder with the safety off and trigger pulled. The person dodged with a yelp. It's me. Izuku crossed his arms and frowned. Shouldn't you be hospitalized? He didn't put the gun away but he did put it down, cautiously watching Izuku. He hadn't dyed his hair. Neither of them had, actually. I escaped when I heard what was happening. Izuku pulled the brunette along. I first felt like doing it when the group chat was suddenly deleted, then I heard about what happened back in Yokohama. Denki didn't resist, but his eyes widened at the other boy's words. What happened back in Yokohama? I thought checking the news was your hobby. He sighed and extended a hand. Give me a piece of paper, things will go easier that way. Why would I never mind? Here, he found a notebook in the bag he'd conveniently not lost during the whole ordeal. Denki watched as his companion came to a stop. At that same moment, Izuku's eyes started glowing, green shimmering lettering bursting out of the paper to surround him like an orbital shield before individual letters and words pasted themselves on the papers as if there was an invisible printer at work. The process went on until his eyes stopped glowing. Izuku sighed, relaxing his body which had become tense at some point. Denki just stared. Hold on, what? Questions later. Read. The white-haired boy rubbed his temples. Now. The former mafioso decided to do as told. Scanning the two reports, he noticed for a moment until something caught his eye. Former Yakuza leader Overhaul found dead near Uehai. First stain, now Overhaul, who's next? Denki frowned. He recognized that man somewhere. He looked through the report again before he found the name he was looking for. Chisaki Kai, Mori's student, of course. Someone tapped his shoulder. He lifted head at the touch of the boy's hand on his shoulder, not bothering to hide his annoyance and exhaustion. What? Izuku pulled him deeper into the alley they'd found and put a finger to his lips. He gestured at the sky. Ah shit, she found them. Dazai stared at the woman with unseeing eyes. He remembered this place like it was yesterday. The labyrinthine halls circling around a glass laboratory, shells of humans walking by, the stench of blood and chemicals, the stark contrast of blinding whiteness and disorienting darkness found at every corner along with the traps, cameras and punishments. Nothing had changed. Not even Dazai. Not even Shuji. Chapter text. It's nice to meet you, Rokujuku-kun. Daily life in facility number 19 in the Shizuoka prefecture was dull, mundane perhaps. The schedules never changed unless they were accommodating to the declining number of subjects. But those were easy to adjust to when you became used to the comings and goings of this place, ignoring all of the horror happening around. We lost number 58. Number 83 is no longer available. Number 15 failed to survive. Before, the loss of subjects was fine, they could easily be replaced. But as they went, only a select few managed to survive and not just anybody could be picked. They needed help from another lab. Facility number 11 did not need Hiroshi Yoshida. Hiroshi Yoshida was exactly what facility number 19 needed. Nanajuchi. Number 69, formerly known as Shuji Tsushima, was not a dumb child. Rather, he was much more calculative than most. It had been weeks since he'd been through his usual schedule alongside another subject and he only had one conclusion in mind. He was the only one left. Meeting 71 was not unexpected in the least, he'd seen it coming. But the one thing that surprised him was her attitude, or rather, her friendliness and energy. That didn't mean she didn't know when to act accordingly. For the weirdest of reasons, she seemed to like his company. Number 69 wasn't like her at all. He was distant, observant and quiet. The more obedient he was, the easier it was to find what he was looking for. On second thought, in that sense, they were slightly similar. Rokujuku-kun. Never had he heard he'd been called by his number that many times in a row. He found he hardly cared, especially right now while he searched for someone in the small crowd. He could easily ignore his companion even with her distinctive bluish-white hair, which didn't matter much actually, as most people in this facility had bright hair, but more often than not, he found himself turning to know what she wanted to ask. She asked plenty of questions. What do you like? Do you have family, friends? What are you good at? Do you want me to stop talking? Do you read a lot? You read better than me. One question came up often. What's your name? Rokujuku never answered that question and the girl never pushed, instead immediately asking about other things that interested her. She never took it personally, she never shared her name either. Not that he didn't already know what it was. Do you have family, friends? He had a brother that was part of the programming. He'd told her as much, just not his name. His brother could do that himself. Are you looking for S01? All he did was nod. going to find the younger boy until. He noticed a flash of ginger in the corner of his eye and stopped in his tracks. It was gone. For some reason that made him frown, the moment of color deeply ingrained into his memories, his soul. He didn't know why, but the corner of his lips quirked up in amusement, as if he'd found someone to annoy, someone to meet again if he was unfortunate enough to live that long. Nanajuchi stopped beside him, cocking her head to the side as she looked in the same direction as him. What did you see? The brunette shrugged, walking off where he'd been intending to go. It doesn't matter. The girl's eyes flashed in contemplation as she walked beside him. She didn't push, but she grinned at his expression. The shrill screams that relentlessly echoed in the halls daily, weirdly comparable to a never-ending lullaby, bothered him most days. Today, they didn't. He didn't care all that much about them. He hadn't even when he'd first been brought to the 19th facility 5 years ago. Right now he barely heard them, contemplating the painting that lay before him. He found it more violent than he'd expect from number 71, but entirely understandable. On a completely blood-red background, the painting of the test room was in shambles. The floor was strewn with glass shards and blood, the tables turned, and the beds twisted around on themselves. The testers were everywhere, in pieces. Some were stuck to the ceiling with tape, others to the walls with nails, and a few exiting the room urgently. The weird part was that he could see it all happen as he took in every detail. Like. The alarms sounded. His head clouded over and he stumbled, dropping the canvas. He struggled to get towards his bed, and then under it so he could yank out the large floor tile he'd forcefully removed once, only to use it as a hiding spot for all the things he'd collected over the years spent in this facility. Rummaging through the sleek white box he'd placed in the hole, his eyes flitted around, his guard lifted. The brunette didn't stop until he found the paper he was looking for. After carefully putting everything back in place, Rokujuku picked up one of his roommate's smaller brushes and took a deep breath. Truthfully, he had no idea what he was doing. He was just subconsciously following his instinct. Overrule the effects of Kumoi Zakura. Immediately after, he dropped the paper as if it had burned him, watching as the writing glowed and disappeared. There was silence, even the alarm had turned off. Then he heard something snap. "Ah, welcome back, Rokujuku." The woman approached him, scrutinizing him with her hooded hazel eyes and frowning as she took in his appearance. "You look awful." Sighing, she dismissed the operators surrounding him, Hawks having been separated from the group a little while ago, and beamed. "Nevertheless, I can't wait to finally complete the experiment." A second later her disturbing grin dimmed, her eyes darkening slightly. "A shame my brother didn't allow me to do anything unrelated to the first project." Dazai mentally pictured ways to kill Mori, internally hating on HFP's dull naming choices all the while. A similar smile to hers crept up on his own face. I can't help but feel excited at the mere prospect. At least he managed to keep the sarcasm out of his voice. That would do no good. Dazai cursed Mori again. Maybe he should try actually cursing him during the tests. Interesting. I thought his ability was nullification. After spending an undetermined amount of time within his subconscious, those were the first words he heard. The 13-year-old didn't try to get up, silently listening in instead. Apparently, even though he was in the same room as Nanajuchi, the painter wasn't awake yet. Indeed, the effects of the book and his ability clashed. The singularity may have ended in number 69 getting knocked unconscious. Disregarding that small inconvenience, that incident revealed to us that both 69 and 71 were compatible. A third voice, that of a girl, another teenager, spoke up. "We'll still have to conduct more tests, but I have a feeling they're perfect." Judging from the offended yelp she made, she was elbowed by the second person right after due to her interruption. The first one chuckled, not seeming bothered. The brunette reined in his involuntary shiver. "You're right, both Yoshida and Tsushima-kun are miracles within this project. Please refer to them by their numbers, Mori-sensei." "Ah, no need to be like that, Chisaki-kun. But unfortunately, it seems I'm no longer needed in here, so I'll be taking my leave." There was a sudden silence and Rokujuku felt eyes watching him for a moment. He did not doubt that Mori could see right through him. "And Kimiko-chan, why don't you help my dear student out, Sure, Shuji hated this obvious scheme already. Chapter text. Keiji Tsushima had long since had it drilled into his head that he wasn't a computer, and he never doubted his older brother's firm and convinced words. He did now. The Hero Formation program had many unrevealed projects which would definitely cause a scandal should they ever be revealed. The Rewrite Project, the Wired Coding, the Blue Moon Experiment, and even the Arahabaki Project to some extent. How else would the HPSC ever be able to find such powerful and perfect heroes like Hawks without resources? Most people were much too gullible to ask questions, but there was no need to blame them. Each and every one of those experiments, because what other word was there to describe them, always ended up with specific requirements. The wired coding had one from the beginning. The subject must have an electricity-related quirk. 87% complete. Denki internally swore, pulling Izuku along as they tried to avoid the gravity nullifier's line of sight. Denki. He almost jumped, whipping his head to face the shorter teen. Izuku was the one who'd suggested they stay quiet to maximize their chances of slipping away. He'd been so silent that Denki forgot the boy had been there despite his body automatically pulling him along. The brunette let go of his companion's wrist, checking around to make sure they weren't being spied on. Yes, Midori-kun, I think. What did you call me? Izuku froze, turning a both murderous and considering face towards him. Denki shrugged. Doesn't matter. What were you saying, Midori-kun? 92% complete. The white-haired teenager paused for a moment, expression remaining unchanging even when Denki randomly frowned and muttered about something being slow before he abruptly pulled his companion to the ground. Denki didn't flinch when he was almost immediately turned around, so he was the one pinned to the ground. Izuku's face scrunched up in displeasure. Never do that ever again. We should go to UA. Denki smirked and let the subject slide. Why? If she's undercover, attacking us near UA would be a horrible idea. The white-haired boy let go of his friend and stood, pulling the brunette to his feet. Whatever you say. 97% complete. Make sure you don't damage his nerves too much. But of course, requirements change. What started with electricity quirk users, with a stroke of luck, turned into one electricity ability user. The Tsushima brothers had truly been a miracle for the HFP. They were both successes in their respective experiments. Though when Shuji had been found, Keiji had been nothing more than a year old. In consequence, he was kept away in a separate room until he had grown older. By the time the younger Tsushima had been 4, his older brother had turned 10. At the time, a veteran doctor from the Great War had affiliated himself with the hero Kamizen as an overseeing doctor. That same doctor has brought his younger sister along under the pretext that the environment would be beneficial to, advantageously channeling her frightening excitement. His nerves are crackling. What are you doing? Neutralize him immediately. Unlike his brother who'd nearly forgotten his own name, Keiji couldn't forget it, courtesy of said brother making sure he remembered no matter what. Yet, that didn't mean he didn't have a number. The little prince was right, grown-ups really care about numbers. SO1, the first ability user in the wired coding. Shit, who left the wires in here? They're about to burst. That didn't mean they had managed to successfully control him after all of this time. You can drive. Denki stared at Izuku with an overly offended look, mouth wide open in a shocked gasp, while simultaneously dragging the unconscious driver out of the car. XCU say you, my brother can't drive without supervision. He got into the vehicle and shut the door, watching his companion get in from the passenger side. He can drive just fine, he's just too lazy to. Izuku smiled sunnily, rummaging through the car to find weapons. What? Conversion from electrification to Stormbringer 100% complete. Denki smirked and got the car going, spreading his ability to the car to increase the speed. How he missed having his ability. Keiji didn't know any genuinely nice people. Even Shuji was slightly wrong in the head, and his dream of trying out suicide of all things, it was the first word he'd taught him when they reunited, didn't help at all. He'd always been in either his room or his specialized test room. All facility number 11 subjects only gathered once every month to have their monthly changes thoroughly analyzed. On the 7th gathering of the year, at the age of 4, he met number 71. A few days later, disaster struck, not once, but twice. Arahabaki in the book. Keiji jolted at the sudden explosion he heard outside his walls. He flinched when he heard the cracks and shatters. The alarm ringing was loud, loud enough to mingle with the panicked cries outside the room. Even the door rattled at the impending impact. The child hugged his knees close in fear, while desperately trying to shut out the noise with his hands. Volume 0%. All of the sounds went away. In surprise, his hands fell to his sides, eyes wide in disbelief, and he shakily stood. "It's so quiet," he heard the soft whisper he emitted despite being unable to hear anything else. Hesitantly, Keiji closed his eyes to concentrate, trying to control the volume. Volume 15%. Keiji. The kid yelped at the sudden sound of his name being called, and whipped his head to see the blonde mop of hair of another older subject of the coding, Q16, Denki Kaminari. The 14-year-old picked him up and dashed out of the room, not even stopping as Keiji struggled out of his grip. Volume 100%. The 4-year-old gasped at the sudden influx of noise and started crying loudly, calling for anybody willing to help. He missed the sad look the older gave him as they went on. All Keiji wanted was his brother, but he couldn't find him anywhere. Then he heard static, shutting down, closing square bracket. "Remind me to never let you drive for me ever again." Izuku glared at him darkly, getting out of the car as soon as they had arrived in the vicinity of UA as well as Lost Ochako's trail. The white-haired boy tousled his hair thoughtfully, probably thinking about how to get their hair dyed as soon as possible. Denki grinned, stepping out as well. "Whoa, that's the moodiest I've seen you. Might need to make you stay away from Shuya-san for a while." He glanced at the entrance of the school and raised both eyebrows. "We have people waiting for us." The other teen's eyes flickered towards where he was looking. "I expected him to get Atsushi, honestly." The brunette furrowed his brows as he saw Todoroki and Akutagawa running towards him, the younger looking confused while the other had a slightly more troubled look than usual, torn in between suspicion and relief. The first words the mafioso told him made him practically bug. "The boss created a new group for us." Denki wished he had any other idea which boss Akutagawa was talking about. That action in itself was suspicious. His phone rung. Chapter text. Slay Detective Painverse chat and the missing bro. Killjoy. I by no means doubt Ranpo's judgment, but what is this about a new member from Musutafu? Killjoy. Who changed my username again? Killjoy. WHO changed the chat name again. Stabby baby. All of our usernames were changed again, Kunakita-san. Stabby baby. Only Dazai-san does that. Alpha Kitty. About that NVM, y'all are blind. Alpha Kitty. Oh yeah, he just decided to hire him one day. 1 minute _ Sherlock. They are and I did. Homicidal shy kid. I hate this username. Madam Butterfly. He's an interesting one I'd say. Killjoy. What happened to the papers? President. Our files were messed with. Stabby baby. And cut up into pieces. Alpha Kitty. What? Alpha Kitty. Shit. 1 minute _ Sherlock. This is an express situation, so I need to add our newest member right now. 1 minute _ Sherlock. Don't be stupid again and go be idiots. Madam Butterfly. We already apologized for that with our wallets. 1 minute _ Sherlock. I'm still mad. 1 minute _ Sherlock added Tuya to the chat. 1 minute _ Sherlock changed Tuya's username to Cremator. Cremator. I have questions. Cremator. But I learned not to ask. Cremator. I caught someone on THTHE roof by the way. Killjoy. 1 minute _ Sherlock. What did he look like? Homicidal shy kid. Did. Seuss school girl. Why'd I smell burning? Cremator. Bro looked like Slenderman. 1 minute _ Sherlock. What a surprise laughing face. Homicidal shy kid. But. That doesn't make sense. Cremator. I couldn't see his face. Cremator. Might have burned it off. Ow. Cremator. His cheap ass coughing had a weird hourglass logo on it. Cremator. Clothing. Stabby baby. You sound like Chuya-san commenting on people's terrible fashion choices while beating them up. 1 minute _ Sherlock. That's where he got it from. I'll just disappear now and go to some shady place. Cremator. ALR by Madam Butterfly. I don't think he knows where he's going. Cremator. What? Chibi enthusiast. Ranpo-san has a horrible sense of direction. Cremator. Ing hell. Chibi enthusiast. He sounds like Mr. Fancy Hat. Stabby baby. If we had any doubts about who changed the usernames, we don't have any now. Killjoy. ARGHHHHHHH. President. Mr. Baker. They got him. Mr. Baker. When is Kanno going to report back? Unsight. Be patient. He just ran into some trouble. Mr. Baker. How do you know that? Unsight. I'm invisible, bitch. Mr. Baker. Oh, copy-paste. Aha gaagahagshiga j sogka g gakogd faki g thichi father said. Oh. Copy-paste. I can't. People woman. How are we feared again? True_lady. The biggest crackheads run the world and destroy it. People woman. True words spoken. Sugar baby. I regret all of my life choices. Mr. Baker. KANNOOOOOOOOO. Sugar baby. Get thee away from me. True_lady. Damn, that's the least amount. True_lady. What a record. Mr. Baker. BRB, going to jump. Unsight. Never come back. Sugar baby. Deadpan face. I thought I was done with the suicide shit when Dazai left. Unsight. Who? Sugar baby. You don't need to know. Sugar baby. At screen bitch how many? True_lady. Only 13. People woman. No way. Unsight. We only said in chat 13 times today. Unsight. What the? True_lady. 15. Sugar baby. Wasn't our average and record 69 and 368 respectively? Skull. People woman. Your grammar young mister. Sugar baby. I'm sorry. String_weaver. Are you all done? Sugar baby. Yes, boss. People woman. Of course, boss. Unsight. We're done. Mr. Baker. Welcome back. I did as I was told. String_weaver. Good. Be thankful, Kanno. Your efforts have finally paid off. Sugar baby. Thank you, boss. Mr. Baker. Leader man. Is he gone? Unsight. IDK is HE. People woman. He is. Mr. Baker. At Sugar baby nepotism. Sugar baby. Middle finger. He put his phone down, not even bothering to put it back into its hiding, and ruffled his fluffy white hair in agitation. He took a calming breath and decisively stepped out of bed, not flinching as any other person might have after standing up with all that damage. He didn't have time to feel pain. The teen found a paper and closed his eyes, committing what he wanted to say to memory and letting those memories flow onto the paper. Commoner's newspaper. Pipe. He hastily folded the note and sneakily went all the way to find his friend's bed, placing the paper inside his covers before he finally turned away and ran. He had Yokohamans to protect from conscience. Chapter text. Years ago, midway in the Great War, another organization arose. It's a known fact that countless countries had a major role in the war, namely, Japan, France, and Germany, but what very few knew was that the war may have never ended thanks to a single nameless Norwegian organization. They were nicknamed Conscience. That nickname wasn't chosen in vain, however. As far as anyone knew, no one had ever had contact with them except for a few unfortunate victims. The only member they had ever seen was the woman nicknamed Lady Constance, whose ability could create jeopardy within the separate parties without her even lifting a finger. What most people didn't know was that Lady Constance's ability almost ended the three-way alliance between Japan, France, and Germany, potentially increasing the casualties and lengthening the war. That is, if Conscience hadn't mysteriously retreated altogether. Denki stared at his phone when he took it out of his pocket. He hesitated before turning his head toward Akutagawa. I'll be back. The brunette didn't even look back before he rushed towards the school, not even when Ochako caught up. They were at Ua, she wouldn't do anything. He only stopped when he reached one of the school's outer walls. He slumped against it and stared at the caller ID for a long moment, watching the continuous calls before finally relenting. Hello, Mori-san. A familiar little laugh was transmitted on the line. How rude. You took quite a while to answer, the person on the other side hummed. but I suppose that your memory of manners compensates for it. Denki had a feeling he knew what would come next. It would explain a portion of what Ochako's mission was and why Mori had chosen to create a new group chat himself. He never did things for no reason. What do you want, Mori-san? His voice came out quieter than intended, his voice betraying him by being tinted by a hint of resignation and spite. You brothers are alike, I suppose, Mori chuckled, a sliver of annoyance escaping. Denki could see the strained expression he was probably making at that moment. As compensation for how indulgent I've been, I need you to listen to my orders. Should you fail to do so, I take it you know what'll happen. This is what he'd tried to leave behind, yet he wasn't stupid. You never leave the Port Mafia for good. Most traitors die, and the only ones who'd succeeded in leaving were the Tsushima brothers. Even then, they were kept on a tight leash. Denki stayed silent for a moment before he simply bowed his head, knowing full well Mori had already known this was how their interaction would go. Of course, Mori-san. Confession time. Dazai only lasted a few days before writing an elaborate award-winning 500-page-long small characters 199 million word long story about how Kimiko ended up dying by throwing herself into a volcano. In reality, it took about 5 pages of the book, a little more than a dozen canvases, and an exhausting search for all of that lost equipment beforehand. Which explained why he was currently going through highly confidential files. Even though the fact that he was high on countless nameless experimental drugs probably had a major part in the why. He had high tolerance, he was going to be fine. Mostly. Dazai heard some people approach and swore internally, mentally cataloging what he found. He was a whole lot higher than he thought. If he didn't notice those footsteps sooner, Mori would have killed and revived him just to torment him. What? Denki watched his classmates file into his class, gaze sometimes drifting towards Izuku and Ochako, then back at their teacher. Sometimes, he just got the urge to rub his eyes or simply reload his server. He had a computer mind, so he could do that, right? There were some moments when his eyes locked with Izuku, whose hair was dyed green again, like his own blonde hair, as if the other felt his eyes on him. Denki's shoulders sagged, for some reason feeling the absence of the teaching assistant weighed on him heavily. That was bad news. It felt unnatural, all of it. The way days passed by without problems, how his hero classes went on like usual, excluding the occasional chatter about the stain attack, how quiet his days had become compared to the past weeks. He could almost believe he had gone back to easily blending in as Denki Kaminari. He could have had his mind not kept going through things he'd heard and noticed in the past few days. Izuku's stare burned into the side of his head, Bakugo's suspicious one not alleviating the feeling in the least. Denki couldn't help but sigh, involuntarily dropping his head into his folded arms. Volume 0%. He tuned everything out, already tired of waiting for the end of classes. It didn't help that he no longer, despite, deep down, never having been, could be considered a hero trainee. Never had he been so glad for the end of the day to come. Sure, Denki had never been a great fan of school to begin with, but it was less a reluctance to work and more a heavy weight pressing down on him the longer the day went on, especially during heroics. He'd slipped away from the common room before anyone could notice and sat down at his new desk, a tiny smile tugging at his lips. Himiko must have passed by at some point. Then the smile fell. Denki let his head fall on his desk, pointedly ignoring the bright screen of his phone. Yokohaman heroes. Mori had definitely made the name of the chat that way to mock them, point out how they weren't really heroes, and also remind the actual hero trainees that they didn't fit in Musutafu. Damn him. Denki reluctantly picked up his phone and clicked on the group, immediately getting greeted by an absence of messages. Yokohaman heroes. Unknown deleted the previous log. Unknown left the group. He threw his phone away and opted to flop on his bed, hands scratching at his yellow blonde hair. The dye felt alienating, like it shouldn't be there. Denki felt his eyes burn, his body curling up on itself. Someone knocked. He didn't even react, watering eyes staring straight ahead as he prayed for whoever was at the door to leave. He heard the door creak open and he buried his head in his pillow, mentally cussing the person out. Denki. He froze. Couldn't they stop being so nosy? He loved his friends, he really did, but sometimes, they just made it hard to do what he had to do. Denki bit the inside of his cheek, pushing himself off his bed to meet the concerned faces of his friends. His heart suddenly felt like it had been impaled. He was about to speak up when he saw a third person standing at the door. Izuku. Mina. Kirishima, the blonde found himself saying, eyes still stuck on his accomplice, "I'll talk to you, tomorrow." Denki didn't look at them as he said that, hearing the way they stood for a moment before leaving with a few mumbled agreements. He swore one of his heartstrings got pulled at that moment, but he shrugged it off, moving and patting a spot beside him on the bed. "What bad news do you have for me, Midori-kun?" Izuku closed the door and gave him an unimpressed look, his facade melting immediately. "Still no news from Atsushi, or Chuya-san for that matter. Kenji was transferred to the general studies and he hasn't seen Himiko since." He bit his nail. "Nothing from Dazai-san either. Eri was put under Aizawa-sensei's care for the time being." Denki closed his eyes and sighed. "What do we do? We'll have to act our way through the end-term exams." All for One had lived long enough to see many things, but even he had to admit that this was a first. Using a long-distance watching quirk, he observed as the vampire he had brainwashed mingled with his league, her personality aligning with what she could have been had she not met those Yokohamans. Then he decided to look at the proceedings of Dr. Garaki. He'd already managed to subdue the tiger, but the other one was tricky. All for One chuckled. The vessel would be a valuable card indeed. What he didn't know, however, was that it takes more than him to subdue a god whose sole purpose was calamity. But he was lucky, he still had time. Dazai had a bad feeling. The feeling he had whenever he had to get Chuya, no matter where he was, immediately. The feeling usually hinted at corruption, but this time it was different. Not only was no longer human buzzing in his skull and the book burning against his neck in its necklace form, but he could hear a pounding in his head. Y-E-L-E-S-O. The fractured speaking was unexpected, even for him. Dazai quickly looked around, making sure he was alone and continued on his way. He was going to Ua. My V-E-E-L-E-E-S-Yo. He didn't stop going, gears clicking together. The next time the voice tried, "My vessel needs you," he would get the whole message. Dazai froze. It was Arahabaki and he was talking about. "Chuya," he whispered, his steps turning into strides as he broke into a run. Where would he be kept? Dazai kept going, accelerating so he could reach the hero school faster and reach his brother. He had another feeling, and that one told him his brother and his companions would be the key to finding his partner. All for One. Dazai catalogued the name in his head. All for One, one for all. He needed to get Izuku immediately as well, he would know about it. Thankfully, both he and his brother would definitely be together. Dazai swore. He was losing Arahabaki again, and that wasn't good. It meant something was happening. And this time, he didn't know what. Chapter text. Two birds on a thin wire. I'm tutoring you, not torturing you. Izuku rubbed his temples, wondering how he hadn't lost his absolute shit yet. Denki gave him a bored look and doodled on his practice papers for the nth time that day. Shinso, who was sitting with them for some reason, stared at Denki's hair as if he was wondering why exactly it wasn't blonde. Izuku would be lying if he said he wasn't curious as well, despite having a pretty clear idea why Denki's hair wasn't dyed. He'd seen the teenager's body language when both of them hung out in his dorm room. Izuku had forced himself to turn a blind eye to the void look that swirled in the brunette's golden eyes every time he looked at them. On those nights, it's like looking at Dazai's mirror. I'll go now. Kenji might need some help catching up. Shinso's voice suddenly cuts through, the sound of shuffling papers filling the room for a moment before the general studies student slipped out of the room quicker than one of their classmates joined them, a subtly confused expression coloring his face. Denki's eyes rested on where Shinso had left, slowly dragging his gaze toward where Shoto had joined them. Izuku had long since been watching whatever he was doing by the time the brunette's gaze landed on him. Izuku took a moment to stare before letting his eyes simply roam, taking in every small detail. Denki was wearing makeup, he noted without much surprise, he'd already noticed before. His eyes wandered again. This time, he noticed the bandages on his fingers and the ruffled curly mess that was Denki's hair. The green-haired boy carefully pushed down the simmering feeling he had at the sight before giving their rather clueless newcomer a glance. "Hey, Shoto." He put a soft smile on his face when the heterochromatic teen turned to him, eyes questioning, "Why don't you go see what Shinso-san has to say?" Shoto didn't ask why, immediately nodding before leaving the common room without taking his things along. Izuku almost sighed. Almost. Instead, he got up and took Denki's arm to drag him along, the barest of frowns painting itself on his face at the ease it took him. Izuku noted that the other chose to comply. Attention turned to the cacophony of noise that slowly filled the common room as they left. "Where are we even going?" Denki finally spoke up, still letting himself get dragged. Izuku halted and turned to stare up. No comment, no comment, at the boy he was still holding by the wrist, raising an eyebrow at the hood Denki had put over his head. "My room," Izuku decided on the spot, acting as if he didn't notice the displeased look crossing the other's face. "Stop. Are my eyes deceiving me?" Both of them stilled at their classmate's excited voice. "Oh, I knew I was right." Izuku noticed Bakugo. He's allowed to call Kachan by his actual name in his head, Shush, and Kirishima hanging a little behind Mina. Speaking of her, her sparkling eyes and teasing smile were creeping him out and he really felt like running. One glance at Denki revealed that he probably felt the same. He isn't quite sure whether Denki or he said that, but that summed up exactly what he was thinking. "You two are dating, right?" "What?" Dazai hummed while he continuously typed on his laptop, one hand softly carding through a sleeping Aries hair. He looked through his multiple open tabs and windows, eye flickering towards the live camera feed of Izuku's dorm room, only turning back to his research when he didn't see anyone in the room. They must have left UA grounds then. Dazai hummed, picking up Eri in one arm, his computer being held in the other, and lay his cute daughter comfortably back on the couch. He folded his laptop closed and tucked it under his arm, pursing his lips when his phone rang again. Dazai knew who was calling without even looking at the caller ID. The person had been calling for days only to get ignored each time. His bandages itched when he ignored the call again, yet the phone kept on ringing. His right eye stung. Shuji answered the call. "What do I owe you this displeasure?" His voice came out as bitter as his words. He wasn't even asking, only making a flat statement, "Mori-san." Frankly speaking, Takami Keigo, better known as Hawks, had been too preoccupied by the HPSC's shit to actually think about anything else. Not even the weird chat he'd somehow been added to, not even Tuya's miraculous survival, not anything linked to that. He especially didn't think about the fact that a few of the people in the group had been hero students he'd heard of before, two of whom were currently standing at his door with apparently more confusion than he had. He'll just call them Coffee Bean and Mintleaf. Also, quick question, if Coffee Bean really is that Kaminari Denki kid from Class 1A, why is his hair distinctly different from before? That incredibly unorganized curly mass of brown hair gave Keigo the feeling something was familiar. How the did we get here? It took Hawks a moment to realize the hushed whisper wasn't directed at him but rather, Mintleaf. Sweet reminder that we freaked out, ghosted our classmates, and then you decided to borrow a motorcycle like the criminal you are. Don't ask me. Mintleaf smiled sweetly with an extremely dark look and grabbed his friend, who Hawks just realized was a good head taller. By the scruff of his shirt, he looked like his veins would pop. Not at all what he seemed like when Hawks had opened the door. Coffee Bean just grinned, eyes lighting up teasingly. The Kaminari kid might be suicidal. What? Still mad about getting accused of eloping with me? Keigo swore he'd heard a similar tone from afar at some point in his life, but he just couldn't pinpoint when nor where. He found it amusing to watch the two students bicker outside of his apartment door as if they'd forgotten where they were. Hawks didn't mind, not really. The tension was also quite entertaining. Neither of them stopped even when he invited them in and he flew away for the short commission he had originally opened the door for, already sure that they wouldn't damage his apartment too much. Who knows actually? When he'd gone back, Keigo had genuinely felt like he had been interrupting something. And that was his house. What Hawks didn't know was that when he'd left, Izuku had immediately let go of Denki, expression slightly pinched as he took in the brunette's overall appearance. "You, Aniki." Denki rolled on the floor so he was on his stomach, burying his head in a pillow he'd dragged down with him. He sighed, the sound long, loud, and exaggerated. "Midori-kun, I know I'm stunning, but please stop staring. You look like all of your life choices just slapped you in the face." Denki groaned, already tired of whatever Izuku would say next. He just wanted sleep, and peace, and time by himself. Izuku didn't really leave him alone anymore, and as much as he loved Midori-kun, he wanted his own nights back. There was shuffling before he felt a sudden warmth at his side. Izuku had moved to sit with his back right against him. Denki closed his eyes, silently waiting for the next words. "If I'm right, then we're in the same situation." Denki should have asked, but he didn't. Hawk's apartment was weirdly quiet and comfortable. He liked it. Besides, he'd already disrupted the cameras the commission had planted to watch their hero. He wasn't stupid. Actually, being stupid is quite a hard feat when you've spent your childhood surrounded by scarily intelligent people. There wasn't any talking for what seemed like hours. At some point, Denki had actually started falling asleep, lulled by Izuku's steady breathing and the continuous sound of a ticking clock. Everything else had faded into the background, even his partner's next hushed words. "I should have kept my distance, now I don't know if I can kill you." Chapter text. Shota had long since resigned himself to getting headaches whenever his kids, his students, were brought up. From them getting into fights or declaring war to becoming celebrities and landing in life or death situations, his pesky students always found a way to annoy him, even outside of school. Nonetheless, Aizawa could pretty much manage teenagers with minor casualties from them almost dying. Details. Children were out of his expertise. Shota pinched the bridge of his nose as he opened the door, already prepared to either drink enough coffee to pass out or collapse on his bed and never wake up again, only to get hit by the sound of a little girl crying inside the house. Eri, still feeling exhausted from the night and excessive thinking, Shota locked the door, immediately rushing towards the living room. The first thing he noticed was that the man claiming to be Eri's father was gone as if he'd never existed. That in itself was disconcerting, especially since the girl herself was now crying. Who knew how long she had been? With furrowed brows, Aizawa went down on his knees to face Eri. "What's wrong, Eri? Of all days not to be home, Hazashi chose today." The bluish-white-haired child continued to sob, furiously rubbing at her eyes so they would stop welling up with tears. She sniffed and threw herself at Shota instead when she failed to suppress her tears, clutching him with all of her might. "Papa." "Papa left," Eri mumbled wetly in Aizawa's shirt. "I'm scared for Papa." Shota's frown deepened, instinctively tightening his hold on the little girl. She was scared, for her father. The same one who, according to Eri's own words, left her on many occasions. His eyes flickered to the child's perpetually closed fist, an undecipherable thought popping up in his mind. "What do you have in your hand?" Eri, after silently hesitating for a few short minutes, opened her palm to reveal the opal bolo tie the man, Dazai, had never wanted to remove from his person. Aizawa had been under the impression it was precious and he still had that feeling. He put a hand on Eri's head and combed through her hair. Shota swore he had seen the same pattern before. "Papa left it for me." Eri's voice trembled. "Chuya Papa did the same thing." "Right, her bracelet." Aizawa sighed. Of course, his students had done something again. Since this morning, a couple of first-year students, including some of his own, became the talk of the staff due to their collectively odd behavior. Naturally, the ones treated with the most suspicion were the transfers. Uwa didn't take transfers, it simply wasn't feasible. His coworkers could manage their own students and Shota would worry about his. Truthfully, the fact that Midoriya had a part in the rumors didn't surprise him. The others did a little more, but this was Uwa, the most publicized school in Japan. Shota reached out to open his classroom door, only to freeze as his eyes narrowed at a distinct detail which only appealed to him thanks to his knowledge of his students' habits. His class was silent, a stark contrast from their usual audible energy. It was like it was after USJ or the Stain incident. The silence they had was different, heavier. It sounded unusual, it felt different, it was different. with suspicions and worries. Not that he would admit his concern. Raised, Shota pushed the door open and stepped in. No one said a word, most eyes riveted on him. From every corner of the room, restless and uneasy energy could be felt from the teenagers. Aizawa felt his further narrow as he prolonged the silence, a few of them. Bakugo seemed deep in his thoughts with his eyes intensely focused on the two empty seats. Uraraka seemed as agitated as the rest of the class, although Shota couldn't pinpoint why she seemed so out of character to him, and Todoroki looked as if he was piecing things together each minute. But one detail was much more prominent: Midoriya and Kaminari were nowhere to be found. "Are you out of your mind?" Sweat beaded on Hitoshi's nervous face. It took everything in him not to flinch at his class assisting teacher, not moving an inch. He wanted to do this. There was a reason why he'd tried entering the hero course, after all. Only to fail, of course. "You are a UA student, not a Yokohama citizen." Hitoshi's attention was increasingly piqued at the mafioso's words. "You need not involve yourself in whatever concerns our city. Our problems should not matter to you." Hitoshi gritted his teeth. He knew Yokohamans often kept to their city, wholly rejecting outsiders, but he wasn't an outsider. "Didn't you all essentially take us in? You told me the ones who accepted me, no matter who I could have been to them, are in trouble right at this moment, and you expect me to sit back and ignore it?" Hitoshi had known them all for a very short time. Although, realistically, it couldn't have been that long. It had felt like they'd been his family for months. At this point, he didn't know how he would have coped had it not been for Miyazawa and Akutagawa-san being around him. In truth, he'd barely interacted with the rest of the group as a whole. Hitoshi often regretted that he hadn't spent as much time with his family as he should have. Except for a few. "You're Shinso Hitoshi-kun, right? Why don't you join cute little Eri and my miserable self on this walk?" "Wait. Are you? Who I am doesn't matter. Hitoshi-kun, don't dwell on it." Hitoshi clenched his fists. "Who do you take me for, Akutagawa-san?" Akutagawa just stared for a moment, Rashomon threateningly flickering along the edge of his coat before he merely huffed. He turned around, keeping his back to Shinso to speak before he left. "Do whatever you want, then. Just know your place, brat." Hitoshi swore he heard a "stupid Jinko" afterwards. Hitoshi stayed still until the older was out of his sight, his mind stuck on Akutagawa's words. Somehow, he understood the brooding young adult's meaning perfectly. There was no way he would be able to handle everything Yokohama had to offer the way he was. At that moment, Shinso Hitoshi decided to do something extremely dangerous, which would make him a hypocrite in the school. He didn't care. However, he'd survived the slums and everything after until he finally got here to begin with. Some things were riskier than the hero society, and Hitoshi had been surrounded by these things his entire life. Some of the most dangerous individuals and organizations in Japan were quite the level up, but nothing he wouldn't get through. Contrary to popular belief, Ozaki Ochako knew exactly what she had been doing since the beginning of the school year. Chapter text. Since the beginning of the UA high school year, Ochako had only done things according to her assigned missions. The sole reason why she had blown her cover was because of the orders her boss had given her. During her mission, few people had piqued her interest, each for varying reasons. Her interest wasn't unfounded. Both her elder sister and her boss both agreed with her judgment. Ochako had been chosen as the only mafioso to fully infiltrate UA from the beginning of the year so as not to raise suspicions. As a matter of fact, she was made aware of what each PM member of relevance to her working in Musutafu had been tasked with doing. Akutagawa Jin's mission had essentially been an extension of Ochako's own mission. Jin had been tasked with keeping an eye of Class 1B in order to figure out who the conscience member within their ranks was. The only way for her to get admitted as a transfer student had been to use the fact that her brother was admitted as one of the requested assistant teachers and that he was the only one who looked out for both of them. Easy. Akutagawa Ryunosuke's mission had been to stay on standby by watching the Gen students. The chances of UA missing what could be considered gems within the Mafia were much higher than the usual Musutafu citizen would believe. Ochako had the suspicion their boss had already set his sights on a specific students, but she didn't try to figure out what his intentions were. Nakahara Chuya's mission had no direct influence on UA. Actually, His mission was something that didn't seem to fit his usual operation criteria at all. His job had been to act like an information dealer alongside a man named Jiren, under the pretext he dealt with exclusive information Jiren couldn't reach. That way, it was easier to manage what information that man spilled. Ochako herself was tasked with being the overseer from within, giving outsider reports on the other mafiosos' actions along with her the progress of her own mission. She had to admit that masquerading as a hero student was annoyingly difficult and incredibly frustrating. Having Kuyu as her sister was a real stroke of luck, otherwise, Ochako might have felt a lot less composed. Where are Kaminari and Midoriya? Ochako shared a purposefully fretful look around, following the guidance of the rest of her class as they looked at each other nervously, each trying to figure out who would speak up first. Ochako didn't feel all that concerned, acting her way through everything. She didn't miss how Todoroki gave her a slightly lengthy glance before speaking up. No one saw them since yesterday. Ever since they eloped, she finished for him within her mind, a smirk threatening to break onto her face. Eraserhead's facial reaction afterwards was oddly funny. He must have wanted to drink all of his problems away at that moment. Todoroki glanced at her again, but she didn't react, continuing to stare at her teacher along with the rest of her classmates. Eraserhead sighed. Stay put, problem children. I'll call a substitute. They'll do whatever they want until I get back. She didn't think that was a good idea, but well. The majority of the hero students were obviously confused, but no one asked anything. What Eraserhead was likely going to do was go converse with the UA principal about the problem, asking Akutagawa to supervise in his stead. Somehow, he'd gotten a good reputation among teachers. The clear problem Ochako saw with that was that, with Midoriya's guidance, the two runaways were well off in another city. Todoroki gave her a last glance when Eraserhead left the room, with which she responded with a closed-eye smile in return right as Akutagawa entered the class. Todoroki Shoto and Shinso Hatoshi DMs. Insomniac much. Wide. Detective Zuko. I'm having a staring contest with the substitute. Insomniac much. Open mouth smile. Insomniac much. Cool, I'm skipping school. Detective Zuko. Is it because Akutagawa-san left the classroom? Insomniac much. Insomniac much. Yes, Insomniac much. But that's not the point. Detective Zuko. What is? Insomniac much. I'm going to kidnap Eri. Detective Zuko. What? Insomniac much. Don't leave your seat. Detective Zuko. Are you stalking me? Insomniac much. Insomniac much. Insomniac much. Yes. Detective Zuko. Huh. Insomniac much. That aside. Insomniac much. I'm bringing Eri to Yokohama. Person shrugging. Detective Zuko. Why are you telling me this? Insomniac much. Insomniac much. Otherwise you'll kill me. Detective Zuko. No, I won't. Insomniac much. Your screen is freezing to the point of cracking. Insomniac much. Yes, you will. Detective Zuko. Hold on, class is ending. Insomniac much. Wait, Insomniac much. WTF. Insomniac much. Didn't your class just start? Todoroki Tuya and Shinso Hatoshi DMs. Insomniac much. Can you even babysit? Arson. Rude much. Arson. Also, are you really asking? Insomniac much. Yes. Yes, I am. Insomniac much. If you hurt Eri, your brother will kill you anyway, so. Insomniac much. Actually, the whole family will haunt you. Arson. With good reason. Arson. Wait, Arson. You want me to babysit Eri? Insomniac much. By oh hollow down pointing triangle oh. Arson. Get back here. Todoroki Shoto and Shinso Hatoshi DMs. Detective Zuko. Should I corner Uraraka? Insomniac much. Ozaki. Insomniac much. Yes. Insomniac much. Don't listen to me, I was infected by Dazai. Detective Zuko. He's a good influence though. Insomniac much. He really isn't. Insomniac much. Oops, Eri set a building on fire. Insomniac much. Oh she. Insomniac much. Run. Detective Zuko. Detective Zuko. Please survive. Shoto was actually incredibly worried. He wasn't sure how to express his worry, yet it kept increasing as days passed. He got restless and anxious over time as he stayed without answers. For some reason, he'd gotten entangled with matters which still escaped him up to this day in less than a week. All Shoto had been able to do was adapt, even if he'd been entangled for longer than he'd bothered to remember. Today was the day he'd turned 12. Unsurprisingly, Shoto felt no excitement in regard to that day. He'd snuck out late at night for a reason he couldn't fathom. He didn't understand what drove him to act like a fugitive. Shoto had decided that it didn't matter if the fresh air felt that good. The dangers of wandering in the streets at that time in such an aimless manner fully slipped by him. For a reason or another, he ended up in front of a train station. Hardly anybody was out at this time of night except for the few dark-clothed people going back and forth. Shoto caught himself following the movement the people made with his eyes in momentary fascination before, out of simple curiosity, he began to walk all around the building. He enjoyed observing the way he walked along with everything else, the attires of the surrounding people, their silence, their differing expressions, the expensive cars. It was all slightly odd for Musutafu to have in his opinion. However, Shoto eventually felt exhaustion from the day catch up with his decently weak body. The boy wandered around a little more until he found a secluded area to lie down. He wasn't picky. On the contrary, Shoto felt curious about the new experience. It didn't take long for him to fall asleep. But he didn't sleep for long, woken up around an hour later by the voice of a teenager, a kid. Shoto didn't recognize the voice. It had an empty quality to it, yet, to him, the voice was strangely calming. Shoto was on high alert nonetheless, snapping his eyes open to aim some very weak and haphazard ice at the stranger. Everything went quiet again until the person spoke again. Shoto shut his eyes, pushing himself against the wall. Huh. The stranger's voice took on an odd tone, an inscrutable feeling underlying the words. It really is Endeavor's youngest kid. Shoto peeked an eye open in surprise. No one should know that. The boy wasn't sure what he had been expecting to see when he opened his eyes, but tousled, slightly shaggy brown hair and bandages wasn't it. You have a lot of bandages. The words had slipped out unintentionally. The stranger, a teenager based on both voice and appearance, raised an eyebrow. Is that all you have to say, kid? The naturally threatening aura around the bandaged brunette had slightly mellowed. Shoto hadn't even noticed the feeling in the first place. It was startling. Apparently, it is. The teenager sighed at the silence that kept stretching out in between them. Do you? He furrowed his brows as if struggling to figure out what to do. Live nearby. Shoto hesitantly shook his head, unable to figure out whether the man was trustworthy as he observed him, trying to figure the brunette out. It wasn't easy at all. Here's what we'll do, the stranger decided out of the blue, getting up from his crouched position. I'll escort you home since it's dangerous around here. What do you say? Shoto blinked, not entirely sure whether he could trust the weird and extremely suspicious teenager at all. Okay, even so, he trusted his instincts. It wasn't like he had much of a choice since he was most definitely lost. The boy got on his feet and tilted his head up, expectantly holding out his hand for the teenager to take. The bandaged brunette stared at him for a moment before taking the outstretched hand with as much care as he could. An odd nostalgia flashed in the person's dark brown eyes, only to go away as quickly as it came. The person was strange. What's your name, mister? Shoto found himself asking against his better judgment. Honestly, everything he was doing went against what he knew was the right thing to do. He didn't know why. The teenager, who'd taken to following Shoto's lead, cracked a small grin. Dazai Osamu. What about you, mini happy child? What's preoccupying your mind, Todoroki-kun? Shoto blinked, turning to look at Uraraka, Ozaki, who was hovering near his seat in apparent worry. He opened his mouth to speak only to remember the rest of their classmates were there in the class with them. I was thinking about Midoriya and Kaminari. The students who heard them visibly wilted as they had this morning, coincidentally all filing out of the classroom until it was fully empty, save for Shoto and Ozaki. As soon as they were alone, Ozaki took on a less unguarded look, concern still somewhat evident. She sat down at the desk beside him and propped her elbow on it, cheek pressed against her hand. I know where the two of them went. Shoto was shocked. He hadn't expected her to tell him straight up. Something wasn't right. Why are you telling me this? Ozak shrugged him off, promptly getting up from her spot. I'm just following orders. Shinso Hitoshi and Todoroki Shoto DMs. Detective_Zuko. Where are you? Insomniac much. Train station. Insomniac much. Why? Detective_Zuko. How long until your train arrives? Insomniac much. 27 minutes. Detective_Zuko. Wait for more notifications. Dazai Osamu and Todoroki Shoto DMs. Detective_Zuko. Dazai-san. Detective_Zuko. At NLH. Detective_Zuko. Dazai-san. NLH. You don't have to blow up my phone. NLH. What do you want? Detective_Zuko. I need you to tell me. Detective_Zuko. Tell us what to do. Detective_Zuko. I don't understand anything, but things are getting out of hand. NLH. And why do you think I should do this? Detective_Zuko. You're the one who tied us together. Detective_Zuko. We want to find the others, but we're disorganized as a group without you guiding us. NLH. Musutafu's most illegal family. Osamu created a group. NLH deleted the previous log. NLH. I was wondering how long it would take you all to get me. NLH. Here's your first order at everyone. NLH. Get your asses back to school and take your exams. Chapter text. Mori Aogai did know how much of an asshole he was. It was a personality he'd developed over the 4 decades he'd lived. Logic was one of the very few virtues he's had, one at the root of his thoughts and actions. He prioritized logic over morality. Mori did not delude himself into believing his actions were justified. There were always wicked people where the just flourished, and he'd long since decided to be the evil for his chosen. In the world they lived, the wisest one were the people who'd seen the world at its darkest as well as his lightest, and the most resilient ones were those who valued the people around them both positively and negatively. The best way to survive was to give your problems a taste of their own poison. That was how he'd taught the kids he'd come to think as his own. Mori was well aware of how much he'd damaged them all, but he took pride in how well they'd grown to be. They themselves likely didn't see it, but he did. Try as he might, Mori had always known they'd be wrenched out of his grasp eventually. He'd left his children alone once they'd left, only bothering them once or twice just for the sake of it. He knew how badly he affected them all at those times, yet he paid no mind to it. He still did not justify his actions. Mori indeed did live with a dose of paranoia typical of men with death flags over their heads. However, despite that, he'd already gotten used to the idea of dying by his children's hands. A cruel fate for a cruel man. Mori Aogai did not think of himself as anything less. Dazai didn't remember when he'd last slept well. Or rather, he did remember, yet he didn't know how long ago it had really been. A few days. A week. A month. He just knew he stopped sleeping when Chuya went missing. Chuya, his dear partner, the one he trusted, his reason to live, Dazai was tired, so tired. He was hollow, he was full, he was broken, shattered, he felt like he was being torn to pieces, as if the little humanity he had was bleeding away. Even so, he tried to stay strong for the kids he'd taken under his wing. Why had he come to care for so many people? Leaning back in his chair, Dazai idly wondered whether Otosaku was proud of him after everything he'd done. Never in his life had Chuya imagined he would enjoy being a detective. To be fair, ever since he was a kid, he'd dreamed of being a hero, up until he became a vigilante of sorts. Of course, truthfully, he'd planned to become his villain and publicly get rid of his father. In the end, becoming a detective for the Armed Detective Agency was a much better choice. A choice he would 100% reconsider once he was done helping his family out by becoming a criminal. Not even an hour earlier, he'd been waiting in the agency's infirmary for his last few daily checkups of the day. Chuya had been examining his phone as he thought about the people he'd left back in Musutafu. Had news of Yokohama's lockdown reached them, or had the information been taken down again? It had been as he pondered that his phone received notifications. Todoroki Chuya and Toga Himiko DMs. Nanakusa Twin. Chuya Kuin. Arson. WTF Mini Vampire. Arson. Where did you come from? Nanakusa twin. So mean sad face but WTV unamused. Nanakusa twin. You need to come back to Musutafu. Arson. First off, arson. Why, arson? Second of all, arson. You didn't answer my question. Nanakusa twin. I was brainwashed, face with rolling eyes. Nanakusa twin. Izuku-kun said you had to help me infiltrate the love. Nanakusa twin. Sushi-san isn't used to any of this. Nanakusa twin. So. Nanakusa twin. You have to help me smile. Nanakusa twin. Help. Arson. Arson. Never. Nanakusa twin. What? Nanakusa twin. Wait. Nanakusa twin. Come back online. Naturally, due to his stupid big brother instinct, Chia's legs took him to the agency's president's office before he could even think. By the way, he'll pretend he didn't see Ranpo's very knowing smirk in his direction. Logically, without his counterpart, Dazai shouldn't have been able to execute this mission. Maybe, over the years that passed, their individual skills had strengthened to the point of them gaining the ability to fight in those same missions without needing to rely on each other. Or maybe, he aimed a shot at a writhing body on the ground, his eyes lingering on the now still ghastly figure for a second too long. The absence of his other half made him different, heartless. Mori had definitely seen it as well. Dazai let out a dry huff of laughter that sounded scratchily freakish to his ears. The soil he advanced on was red in the sun, hardly humanoid bodies littering the ground as he made his way along the blood-soaked earth. Ironically, he'd seen this same exact scene a few years ago. He'd dreamed of this the night he'd left. The future reflects the past. His lips curled into a cold and sinister smile. Dazai had both nothing yet everything to lose. He was death incarnate. He hadn't wanted to come back, nor had he wanted to turn back into what he had been during his so-called dark era, but he had people to look over. Dazai accepted to turn back into the monster he had been if his dear ones were safer than they could have been otherwise. And so, the demon prodigy was back without the god of calamity at his side to keep him in check. Mori was well aware of what he had unleashed, although, this time, he wasn't exactly at fault. To begin with, Shuji, Dazai, he mentally corrected, shouldn't have returned, and he wouldn't have been so needed had it not been for the foreign organization, judging by their organized attacks, teaming with some riposting gangs to attack Yokohama's stability. Much to Mori's dismay, they had been going at it for nearly a month at this point. Quite ironically, many things had not been meant to happen. Why did you give me this task, sensei? Things are not as they should have been. Mori wasn't entirely sure what Natsumi-sensei had really meant, but he wasn't about to question decisions that would benefit the mafia. If Yukichi of all people had the good sense not to question their secretive sensei, then Mori certainly has the brain cells not to do it. Mori Aogai and Dazai Osamu DMs. NLH. I traumatized your new secretary again, P. NLH sent a picture, extremely bloody Dazai posing with a peace sign, tongue stuck out. The woman he's taking the selfie with looks like she saw worse than death. Mori. Take a shower before you report, Dazai-kun. Mori sighed. This was almost like dealing with Dazai's younger self, and that in itself was far from a good thing. Hitoshi was cooked, barbecue style. He stuffed his repeatedly buzzing phone back into the pocket in which it belonged before fixing up their fashionable covers. By there he means both Aries and his, because of course he has to drag the poor little girl with him for an adrenaline-induced stupid idea. But, naturally, due to the shit luck he was sure he had miraculously gained from the sketchy dumpster fire mentally insane nihilistically suicidal Barbie disaster maniac, the cops he had initially been running from recognized him and his ink purple ass hair. Well, this ever-loving bitchy shit he calls his life. Dazai would probably give him a dark look because of his excessive crude language, but Hitoshi honestly couldn't care less right now as he fled from the authorities with a child people likely thought he kidnapped on his back, never mind the fact that pro-heroes were definitely on the way. Frankly speaking, Hitoshi wanted nothing more than to place Eri on the biggest throne ever before overdosing on caffeine, because Dreamland/Memoryland is not a pleasant place to be in the life of Shinso-ing Hitoshi, but now really wasn't the time to mentally cosplay the creepy shell of a bandaged human black cat, Actually, dying right now after crowning Eri as queen was definitely the best option right now. Because Eraserhead, who doesn't recognize Hitoshi under his disguise but does recognize Eri, looks positively livid. Hitoshi was positively carbonized. Chapter text. In hindsight, Shota should have noticed Eri's initial lack of panic around the masked arsonist. Maybe then, he wouldn't be failing to calm the girl down since she'd burst out crying when Shota had thrown the vigilante to the wall in order to establish some space in between them. Had that not happened, maybe the fugitive wouldn't have escaped. Shota halted his steps, distinctly aware of the surrounding silence as his heterochromatic eyes spotted very familiar purple hair pulled back into a ponytail. He furrowed his brows. Shinso was sitting cross-legged with his head leaned back against the wall, and, from what Shoto could see, he was visibly out of breath. Shoto sighed. He didn't really want to know what the latter had done, but he approached him nonetheless. "What did you end up doing?" Shinso almost jumped, seemingly about to instinctively attack who he saw. "Probably something illegal. Then, what crime did you commit?" The general studies student sputtered, likely having half a mind to deny Shoto's claim by making up an excuse about the blooming bruises, especially on his face, and the char marks on his hands, but he eventually relented, wiping sweat from his brow. Shinso working out really paid off, judging from how the light highlighted his features more. Arson, kidnapping, and possible trespassing, the purple head deadpanned, sweating bullets as he dutifully ignored Shoto's very persistent gaze. No, Shoto wasn't contemplating murder yet. He didn't want to ruin Shinso's prepossessing body. Well, maybe a little, but Shoto didn't know that. He crouched down to Shinso's level, somehow absent-mindedly forming an ice blade while staring into the other's now open velvet purple eyes. "What about? Don't kill me." Shoto was not stupid enough to reply. Musutafu's most illegal family, Jin. Help. Hitoshi. TCRXR 67 TFY Head FCKDVHGF. Fervetif FHG. Jin. WGHAT. Ochako. Ignoring that, Ochako. At Jin you can come study in our dorms. Shoto. Yaomomo is tutoring there. Ochako. That's the point. Ochako. At Kenji and at Hitoshi can come too. Ryunosuke. Why? Ochako. Don't be stingy. Ochako. Share your fav student. Chuya. Damn it. Chuya. I forgot how much these burns hurt. Keigo. Why are you burned? Hamiko. LMAO. Hamiko. Husbando was summoned. Jin. Hashtag couple goals. Hamiko. Hashtag couple goals. Chuya. Chuya. Ew, why he's so crusty. Hamiko. IKR. Shoto. WTMFBVTYRDE5R6FTUYHVCFYRTUVJEDCFDEJGC. Shoto. Sorry, Shinso took my phone. Shoto. Bro, you burned mine. Shoto. It was an accident. Shoto. TFYM. It was an accident, bitch, you pinned me to the ground and burned ITV in front of me, you sadist. Hamiko. Kinky smirk. Shoto. STFU. Chuya. That whole convo was in the GC. Keigo. Ask no questions, Pookie. Hamiko. Huh. Jin. Caught in 4K father FR. NLH added 2 users to the chat. Denki. Finally. Denki. I can live again. Izuku. It wasn't that bad, WDYM. Denki. You threw me down a 13th floor building. Jin. How TF are you still alive? Ryunosuke. It's the Dazai-san genes. Izuku. At least you absorbed the shock this time, relieved face sparkles. Ochako. This time, face with raised eyebrow. Denki. I hate you SM now. Izuku. No you don't, face holding back tears. Denki. EUTF. Denki. You stole my job. Ryunosuke. Jin. Chuya. Shoto. Denki. Jin. Pure SKK vibes. Shoto. Is Dazai-san okay? Denki. I don't think he is skull. Denki. Actually, Denki. He never is skull. Hamiko. Obvious depression and need of therapy aside. Hamiko. Meringue-kun. Eclair-kun. Ochako. When did Izuku become meringue? Chuya. Don't ask. NLH. NLH. At Izuku at Denki, where are you two, smiling face with open hands? Ochako. AOOP. Ochako. They went offline RLQ. Hitoshi. Hitoshi. I might need to run too. Hitoshi. All might. Hitoshi. Might TF. Hamiko. LMAO autocorrect. Chuya. Is your phone back from the dead Dazai craves? Ochako. Why does he get mentioned every 5 minutes? Hitoshi. My darling Woonie Bear is filthy rich nail care biting lip. Hamiko. Caught in 4K as well, camera with flash, camera with flash, camera with flash, camera with flash, camera with flash. Chuya. At Keigo, can I tell you SMTH before I die from overexposure to crustiness? Keigo. I'd pookie whatever you want. Hamiko. At everyone gets some popcorn. Hamiko. The day has come. Hamiko. Pumpkin-san isn't here to Santo US crying, dying, throwing up, sobbing, drowning, screaming. NLH. Note that Hawks is denser than Ron Weasley smile. Jin. PLS don't get US killed. Chuya. FYI she did that IRL. Ochako. I mouth I. Keigo. WTF is even happening? Keigo. My chicken drumsticks are dancing RN. Hitoshi. I'm calling an exorcist. Chuya. YKW let's go to DMS open mouth smile. Jin. WAITTT. Hamiko. No, Hitoshi. I will reveal your family history in this GCRN. Chuya. NVM. Hamiko. TEA. Ochako. Are you high on caps lock or SMTH? Chuya. Dramatic inhale. Hamiko. Audience holds breath. Ochako. Jin. Hitoshi. Denki. Kenji. Akiko. Izuku. NLH. Shoto. Ranpo added 3 users to the chat. Ranpo. Kyoka. Nito. Unknown added 3 users to the chat. Unknown. Anonin. Chuya. Open mouth smile WTAF ignores trash. Keigo. GTG before Eraserhead stops spamming me death threats and actually kills me. Hamiko. Jin. BGVFCXDERX 6 Road 7 FTYIH VSiteKerchard 2 Surat. Ochako. Are you being FR? Hitoshi. I'm burning down UA. Shoto. Burn down Endeavor's agency instead. Hitoshi. BRB. Hamiko. By UV Trexert na HHHHHHYN. I'm pulling a brownie san today. Denki. Wait, Izuku. I love chaos. NLH. Bye. Denki. Aniki no. Akiko. Kenji just destroyed the train. Hitoshi. I plead guilty. Shoto. This is your fault. Hitoshi. Ick. To be continue. I hope you enjoyed this story. Also remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video.